Hi, this is Marco Lis.
Hey, we are Denzel Park.
Hi, this is Mark Knight from Torn Records, and you're checking out Act Like a DJ with LPR.
Hey guys, this is Stonebridge, and you're listening to Act Like a DJ with my boy LPR.
I think we're pretty much rolling, my friend. We're back in Bali for another episode of Act Like a DJ. We've got listeners and we've got viewers today. We're doing it both ways. And I'm here with the melodic house maestro, Mr. Klingande. Am I saying it right? I believe
Klingande.
I am.
Yeah, Klingande is the right pronunciation.
It's the right way to do it.
It's tricky, but there is no right way to say it, but I prefer Klingande because it's a Swedish word, and the Swedish word is Klingande, but I prefer to say Klingande.
I did want to ask about the origin. I believe you've got a few influences like the Swedish house mafia and Avicii and people like that. You've actually worked with Avicii, right?
Well,
Or you've remixed for Avicii.
Yeah, I did a remix. I was also opening for one of his tour. I think it was in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, good time.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But so the name was that just because of your inspirations? Is that how you came up with it?
Yeah, exactly. It was also like I was a huge fan of Clan Carousel, and they're like I really love the sound they do, and also the name. And so I was looking for a weird name, and then because I'm really influenced by Swedish culture and music and stuff, I wanted a Swedish name. So I found this name, Klingande, which means when you take a glass and you do the ting 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 on it, the sound is a Klingande.
Oh,
and I found it to be really cool. So like, okay, let's go with this name.
Why did you not think of like a French sounding name, or did you, and then you just didn't like anything?
It was on purpose. I wanted to stay a little bit anonymous at first. Like no one knew that I was Klingande. Like not even my friend. I didn't tell to anyone because I really wanted to have like a true opinion on my music. And when I show the songs, I would like, do you like this song? And like that, you have a really honest opinion. So at first, I just wanted to stay a little bit high and just like a mystery, and then Ariane.
It's a smart way to do it.
But yeah, it was fun to do it this way.
I like it. I really get what you mean, because a lot of the time you may be surrounded by a lot of yes people who, if it's their friends, they just say, oh yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
And they
can be no, it's not good, and it can be good. And if someone tells you that, sometimes you can lose your motivation, and that's really that's not good. Like for example, I never show my music before it's released to anyone, because I don't want someone to tell me, oh, I don't like it. Then I'm gonna get confused. I'm gonna feel insecure about my music, and I'm not gonna be able to fight to defend my music at interview the right way. So I prefer to keep everything for me, and just everyone discover the song at the same time.
That's interesting. I've got friends in the industry who are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They make things, and sometimes they have 20, 30 tracks ready, and they don't show anybody.
Yeah.
And then out of those 30 tracks, they might only send one to a label.
Yeah.
And then depending on what the feedback is for that, depends if they're going to send more, because they're just so, I don't know, in my experience, the people who I ask to send me records and they don't because they're too scared, it is because they're scared, whereas yours is just more to do with you just want to have feedback on the correct track at the right time, I guess.
It's also because, not everyone is able to, when the song is not done, final product, and people aren't not everyone is able to imagine what you can do with it. So they're just gonna listen to maybe a vocal with a pre-production, like like a demo version, and for them it's gonna be like, okay, but they're not gonna see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And so it makes no sense to show them, because I'm sure some people will listen to the demo and will be like, oh, it's not good, and if they listen to the final product, they will love it. So
100%.
I think it's not fair. It's not clever to show them then, because if they tell you first it's not good, you're gonna lose your motivation. So
I remember around about 2011, I heard a demo. I mean, I call it a demo. It was probably like a V3 of Avicii Levels.
Yeah.
And it was completely different. It didn't have the vocal, of course, and it was. The breakdown was nowhere near as powerful. There was no strings in there or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was playable. Like it was obviously, it must have been the one that he used to test out for
Yeah.
the first few months before, he really had that finished, polished final product. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I had a real list of things to go through with you, but since we've sat down, I mean, you've got 1 million fans on Facebook. How do you live your life? Is it not crazy? Because to me, sitting down with you, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because you've got over 1 million fans. Your streams are in the tens of millions.
Yeah.
Has that changed your life? Because you're just a normal guy, you know?
No, at all. Yeah. I'm exactly the same as I don't know. Like I'm just a few years older, but no. It has been a crazy experience, to be honest. Like since I think. Since 5 years now, or 6 years, and it has been really crazy to travel the world and stuff, and not having really time to sit down at home and just stopping everything. But I love it. I love touring, and I love making music every time. So,
you say you love touring. What else do you like to do? If you're not touring, do you ever get to do some of the things that you like, or what do you normally do?
Yeah, normally I used to love doing some tennis and stuff like that,
yeah?
but I
Nice.
can't anymore. Like I can't find time for that.
You had a day off couple of days ago. You might have been able to get some tennis in, no? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Well, there's tennis bits. How long are you in Bali for?
just for one day.
Ah, okay. So that's what it's like. You don't even get to see these places,
Nah,
do you?
that's the
You're
same.
in and out.
That's the same.
It's not your first time in Bali, but
No.
tell everyone why you're here this time, and then where you're going to be going next as well.
Yeah, so today we are playing for the W Wake Up Call Festival. So should be really cool. Last time we were here, it was for Ultra,
Nice.
and yeah, every time is very good. I mean, I love Bali, and but last year I think when I came here, I took like a week off here just to enjoy.
Oh, so you did get to see Bali last time?
Yeah.
Did you play tennis?
No,
Oh, I see.
I really enjoy my time.
If I'd have known, we could have played tennis. I know a few places. So you were in Jakarta last night. This is tour life, by the way. So Jakarta last night, you landed in Bali about, I guess, 3 hours ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And straight to the hotel. You've sat down with me, which I really appreciate. And then you go to the W and you play there. And then what happens next? Where do you go?
Then I go home. I have lots of new songs to finish. But I don't know if you want to talk about new music later or now. But yeah, like I was in the studio last week. I was in Ibiza for a week. So I rent a house and I rent a studio, and I was just doing music for a week. It was very cool to be outside of like a normal studio. Like this studio had a pool and everything, so when you have a lack of inspiration, you can go outside and just enjoy. So it was very cool.
You're just living the life, my
Yeah,
friend.
it was very cool. Yeah, doing it this way. So now I think next time I'm gonna do the same, like rent a studio in Ibiza and work like that, because I think it's really inspiring.
If you want to do another Act Like a DJ podcast in Ibiza, let me know.
Yeah.
If you've got one of those houses, we'll make it work.
Cool.
We'll figure it out somehow. So if we can, please, I'd like to rewind just to how you grew up and if music was involved. I know you studied music as a youngster. How did that influence your career, so to speak?
Yeah, like when I was young, I was playing piano. Not at a very good level at all, but I learned the basics, so I know a little bit about chord progression and stuff like that. Then I went into DJing, but I didn't really like it at first because for me it made no sense to play music from other people. I was missing the creative process at the end. So I started music production in my bedroom, and then after 2 or 3 years of just learning on YouTube, I went to a school in London called Point Blank.
Oh yeah, I know Point Blank.
Yeah, I have been there for a year. It was a really cool way for me just to not having my parents on my back, being like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
So you moved to London just to study?
Yeah, just for a year, because I was studying at the same time. I was studying in France, and then my parents, when I finished my studies, they told me, like, if you want to go for a year in London, like that, you're gonna figure out what you really want to do. So I took my chance. So I went there, and I was just doing music for a year, and it was really interesting. And when I came back, I made 2 months later, when I came back in France, I made my first song, which was a Punga. Yeah.
So you studied, which I think you would agree would be probably the best decision you ever made, moving to London for that experience.
Yeah.
And then after a year, just learning what you do, and then YouTube videos and so on, you went home and you made your first track and then released it straight away, because that was your debut track, right?
Yeah, my first track ever. I never produced any track before. Like I was just experimenting some beat, but never finished anything because I was not sure about my sound and what I really wanted to do. Because I was really influenced by Avicii, Axwell, and all those guys, but the level was so high, and when I started, I was not at this level at all to produce this kind of music. So then I discovered the melodic house, which was less technical, but it was more about the vibe and the melody, and I felt in love with this genre. That's why I chose to make this music, and I think it was made for me.
So you produced Punga, and then do you remember how the process was to get it signed? Because I remember my first track, I was really lucky. Like it seemed to be the right place at the right time, but it wasn't anything like the success that you had with your music. Did you get a lot of rejections in the beginning, or did you just literally get a slam dunk and the first guy said, I want to take it?
No, I totally agree with you when you say the timing. So you need to have the right song at the right moment. Like for example, if I release Jubel nowadays, I'm not sure it will be the same.
I think it would be, but
maybe no. We
don't
know.
See what you're saying.
But yeah. Because the trend is, I was at the really beginning of this trend, and I think it's really important to be one of the pioneers of your genre if you want to stay long in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people respect the people who create something like a new genre. And I was about to say something. But
no, but you didn't have any management. You didn't have any team at this point,
yes,
right?
So yeah, that's the story. Yeah, I just put the song on YouTube. My first song was Punga. I put it on YouTube, and I had an amazing feedback from people. But for me, it was just I was just happy with 1,000 views. So then my manager came to me. He's still my manager now. He was not a manager at all. He was just an organizer of party in my hometown. But I had no one to work with, so he was the first one to ask, and we tried. And so 1 month after that, I made Jubel, and I showed him. He was like, I don't know. so we put the song.
What did he know?
He didn't know. Yeah, he was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, because for sure Punga was really a strong song, like in terms of energy. It's really energetic, and I think Jubel is more laid back song. Mm-hmm. So we didn't know, so we just put the song on SoundCloud just to see what's in free download. It was just to see, and it was growing super fast, and then all the label came to us, and they wanted to sign.
Oh, so they approached you?
I never approached any label.
Wow.
It was, because back in the day, SoundCloud was really a big thing. Like it was.
It was better. It used to be a lot better.
Now it's dead.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
SoundCloud,
really
if you're listening, we're sorry, but come on,
to be honest, I don't really look.
Talk to us. We can help. We can sort it.
Yeah, it's cool, but I don't really look at new music on Spotify anymore because it's too complicated now. But yeah, it was amazing, like how it was possible to expose your song to so much people with this platform. On YouTube also is also amazing for that. So, I think if you have a good song, it means the song has legs, and one day it's gonna work.
Yeah, for sure.
There is no reason. I think if people sometimes complain, but my song is very good, but I don't know how to find the right label, and people. That's excuses. I think really at the end, if you have a really good song, everyone wants to sign it. Like, why not? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. And at the end, I don't know. That's my opinion, but I think if you have a good song, it has to work.
So you've gone from being happy with 1,000 views on YouTube and stuff like that. Then you make Jubel, and then everybody wants to sign it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're at the time of speaking, we're on 169 million views on YouTube. Like, just think about that for a minute. How many people must have listened to that track over and over and over again? Yeah. That's only one platform. We're not taking into consideration Spotify and SoundCloud and everything else. like, wow, that's got to be
yeah, it has been insane.
it's got to be insane, right?
Yeah, and then it was also difficult also after that to know what kind of music I wanted to produce and not.
That was what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Did you feel pressure to have to follow up such a record?
Yeah, because I think after Jubel I made Riva, and it took me like a really long time to make it, because I didn't really know what to do, because I didn't want to be like just a sax guy doing music with sax. It was not what I wanted to. So I tried to switch to something else. So I tried harmonica, and then I tried the violin and some other. So I always try to add some live music in my song. And
hang on. So in Jubel, did you play the sax?
No. The thing, like in Jubel, I was not. It was not possible for me to record, and I had no mic at home and no musician to come to play for me. So I just played with some loop and stuff. So cutting them to make sample packs that I found online, and I just play with them. And yeah, you know, when you start, you don't have any money to invest in that. So the best way is to sample stuff. And
I still do it now. I mean, people watching, people listening are going to say exactly the same thing. They spend their whole days, weeks, months sourcing through sample packs and taking one snare out of 58 snares, and then you know they're creating their own little libraries. It's great. Yeah. It's the way to go. You know,
if I find a really cool guitar riff or sax riff or whatever in a pack, I will use it. No matter, I don't care. Of course, I don't care. But, now it's also cool to go in the studio, and because I remember back in the day there was still people being like, "Oh, he uses the loops from these packs," blah blah blah. So you know,
who doesn't? Find me someone who doesn't do that.
I know.
You know, everyone does it in some capacity, whether they talk about it or they don't. It is what it is, you know. But how did the vocal come about? Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of producers out there who were sitting on a lot of instrumental tracks, and they think that they've got some really good stuff, but they struggle to find that extra element, which is the top line. Which
that's difficult.
It's the hardest part in many
really
respects,
difficult.
Because it can make or break. That you can cross over into 169 million views, or you can stay in the melodic instrumental realm.
True. You can have an amazing song, and if you don't have the right voice for it, it's not an amazing song. So
did anyone like give you a few versions first, which you didn't go with and you didn't like?
For Jubel, the girl was the sister of a friend. So
oh wow.
He told me, "Yeah, my sister can sing." I was like, "Okay, let's try." So I just sent her the instrumental, and she was like singing through the whole song. But so at the end, I just get some parts of it, like because in Jubel it's not really a song based on the vocal; it's more based on the saxophone. But I still think that the vocal makes a big difference at the end, you know.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying, that's the bit that's going to make the track explode.
Yeah.
Because like me and you, we might love the saxophone element, but the wider audience, they might be waiting for that vocal hook, and
that's why I have been really lucky at the end, you know, because you know, like I was just playing with some loops on my computer, sax loops, and then from nowhere I found this girl that has an amazing voice and did this top line. So yeah,
I've been looking for these type of vocalists for years.
Yeah,
you are looking.
Sure, it's really good.
It's good.
And, yeah, it's crazy. Like this story is really crazy. And now it's more easy, of course, because sometimes you get top line from singer, or sometimes. Or now what I do also a lot, I do some writing camp. So I go in studio, and for a week we are just writing song. And after, like what I did like 1 week ago, like I go in Ibiza to produce them. That's how I work.
It sounds like a good way to work. I've got to be
honest.
Because
I think so.
If you can do it, then why not? You know.
Yeah.
Some people like.
I think in a week we were able to make almost all the top line for the album. So
nice.
Yeah.
And you mentioned an album. I wasn't sure whether to ask or not, because I did see an interview before when you didn't want to talk about it because you felt like is it still the case? Are you kind of have you made it? Is it almost there? What?
Yeah, because the thing that I'm speaking about this album since years, and at the end nothing happened. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna.
It's
stop
a work
talking
in
about
progress
it because people are expecting it, and I deliver nothing. So. because I didn't have time to make it. And now I really, like I told you, like now I know how to work, and I'm better. I have a better organization. So
you feel like you've got the right system.
I know the right people and the musician and stuff. So if I need something, I know who to ask, and it makes the process so much faster. And
I might need to get some of these people from you.
Maybe,
We'll figure it out. So do you remember when after all was finished with Jubel? Do you remember your career kind of exploding and going to that next level? Because that's something that I always try and ask the guests is, do they remember a specific email or a time in their life, maybe a week, when they just did the first huge gig and then everything changed for from then on? Do you remember a point or a time when this might have happened for you? Because it did happen, for sure. It happened.
It happened, but it's a really good question, Adrian. I don't know, I think it has been gradually. It has been first finding my manager, then meeting my labels, and having my first festival. And so I don't have a really break point that I really remember.
Not one point, just a whole.
It was just
chain
step
of
by
things.
step. I think because I can't remember anything really that come to my mind right now. So
do you have any favorite gigs that you've done so far? This it might tie in with that last question. It might be something that the first big stadium or something that you've played, and you will always remember that feeling because it was the first time that you DJ'd more in front of more than 200 people, for example.
Yeah, I think which one was that? The first one.
Yeah, which one? There's so many. But I did a few, stadium. I think the one that I still remember the most is it was last year at my hometown. So doing the stadium of your hometown is just the best feeling ever, because you play in front of all your friends and family. So you have a lot of pressure, but it's also the best feeling. And but if I have to talk about gigs that I really remember, of course it would be something like Tomorrowland, of course, or Ultra Music Festival also. I remember that this festival was really important also in my career, because it was a good way for me to expose my music to the world, because it's worldwide stream. So such a reach from Tomorrowland.
You can didn't realize before how big this thing was, but everyone is watching the stream and then talk about you and then want to see you. So it's really, really important. It's the same with Tomorrowland. The stream is really there's a lot of followers.
What's your favorite type of gig to do? Is it the really big ones or the close ones that you can do for your your family and friends and stuff like that?
What I prefer is to have more like a venue than a club, because I have the live musician with me every time. We need space to express, to be able to express the show on stage,
For sure, yeah.
Sometimes in club it's not the best, and when you have live music, you can get some feedback in the speaker and stuff like that. So it's always tricky. But I love both. But to be honest, I really love also really intimate venue. I think sometimes the vibe is just amazing, and I'm missing that, to be honest, because I can still remember some amazing that in the US when it was small venue. But I remember that it was maybe some of my best.
Some things just came into my head then. I started laughing. Have you ever had a gig where something really went wrong, like the equipment or something like that? Because this happened to me just last week. The manager's nodding, but just last week, like CDJ problems or people spilling drinks over things and stuff like that. Have you ever every time?
No, but to be honest, I have a bad luck on this. Sometimes you go and the cue point doesn't work. And,
Today, this morning, I was DJing, cue point didn't work.
And sometimes the effect doesn't work, or someone throws some water on it. So now when you play with them, it goes crazy. And sometimes, we had in 1 week ago we had big trouble. Two weeks ago, because he was not there, so I had another two manager, and he didn't know really how to set up, because when I go on stage, I use my intro and then I have to start the first song. So, but he put the right cue point. So, when I go on stage, I have to play it directly. I have to play the song straight, and so I saw that the cue point was at the wrong place. I was like, damn it!
And now you're under pressure. You've got to press something.
Big blank. It was a big.
What could you do?
It was very bad. It wasn't.
Yeah, this would never have happened.
I have a lot of stories with you also. Maybe you can tell one. No,
I was getting thrown under the bus now.
which story we had? You had some good one also.
Is this take your pick? Is there a few? Is there? Baptism of fire, straight in.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there before.
Yeah, a lot of
It can only go one way from there, though, can't it? This is it. This is how it is. So, what's your current DJ setup? You mentioned you work with a live performer. Do you still just use CDJs and a mixer? Do you use a laptop, Serato? What do you do?
No laptop, just CDJ on the DJM. So yeah, it's like a DJ set with musician. I would call it. It's not really it's live because there is live music, but there is no computer.
Yeah.
No.
Just a nice original way of doing it. That's what I like.
I think it's. I will not trust a computer, to be honest.
Well, I when I first moved to Bali, we were saying before, I've been here for just over 7 years, and before I moved, the CDJ with the USB hadn't been invented yet. It was still on the CDJ 1000 Mark IIIs with the CDs.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a great idea to buy a laptop with Tractor and use an X1 controller. And then I did it, spent like 3 or 4 weeks beat gridding all my music because everything was going to go through the controller. I'd never used one before. I just thought I'll figure it out. Started playing at a nightclub, and within about 7-8 minutes, a girl had kicked a drink over onto the laptop, and that was the whole thing ruined. Yeah. So I was using somebody else's CDs for literally it was a long set as well. It was like 3.5 hours, and I was like, oh my God. So I think I used the laptop 3 times, and then luckily the club upgraded to the new CDJs with the USB. It was the easiest transition ever. Sure. I mean, what you have to carry to the gig, you carry headphones and a USB, and away you go. Same, especially if you're touring as well. Can you imagine the old days with vinyl and things like that?
And also it changed also the way of the new stuff. It changed the way of mixing. I remember back in the day when I have to really struggle with the pitch, and now it's super easy. But back in the day when you were with the CDG, it was 200. I remember it was a challenge, and now you can more focus on the show than on I have to beat match. Beat match is super fast. But back in the day it was much longer. I mean, much more difficult than that. I
would still love to do, I think, one vinyl set.
Yeah.
But I think the only way you could feasibly do it now is if you had like a Serato setup and you just kind of half closed the screen, so you're not looking at it, but that's what's controlling your music, because we just don't carry any the records around, and they're not available anymore. But I'd still love to do it by ear and just using the vinyls, but it would be a pain in the ass, to be honest. So I probably wouldn't. But that's one of the things.
I think by here it's really different, and it's also a really great feeling. And sometimes I miss that maybe also.
One of my friends has got a great story about this. This was about a year and a half ago. He was playing a vinyl only night, and the coolest of the cool DJs in Bali were there. I won't mention any names, but he's about 2 hours into a set. He was playing all night long, and everyone who always talks a good game about how they've always been a DJ and they started off on vinyl, and they still have their Technics turntables. Yeah. They're all there in the booth behind him, like everyone's really cool. And he turns around and says, "I need to go take a piss. Here, someone take the headphones." And everyone went, whoa, no. Like everyone ran out the booth like rats, just running away. He said it just shows how everyone talks. Oh yeah, I love vinyl. I really want to play. And then when you say, "Yeah, then go do it," they're like, no, I don't know what to do. But yeah, that's still on my bucket list is to just use that. But easy, I'm like you. It's just USB and a pair of headphones.
Yeah.
And let's make it easy for the tour manager so he doesn't have to. Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah. What instruments are
so it's violin, and we have a saxophone also.
I played at a gig with a live violin a month ago or something, and they were having some pretty bad audio issues. Yeah. And
with the live, it happens a lot. That
to be honest, it's a great addition. If it sounds great when it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same. Yeah.
That's true.
They're not used to get some live music. That's the same.
Yeah. But if it works for you, then obviously your tour manager is doing something right.
That's why we have lots of mistakes sometimes on tour. But That's the charm of the live music, you know.
That's it. That's it. It is exactly what you just said. It's the charm of the live music. Well, obviously, as you're playing tonight, we don't want to drag this on too much further. But we'll talk now about your newest track, because this is your time to push it out to the masses, because a lot of people are going to watch this and listen to this. So please tell me about your newest music and what's next for you, really.
Yeah, so the last song I made it's called Wonders. I made this song with Broken Back, and back in the day I made a song with him. It was called River, and we were really good friends. And he was working on his album, so he came to me and was like, "Yeah, I have this song. Do you want to work on it?" And I listened to it. I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna produce it." So yeah, very proud of this song, because it goes back to the roots of what Klingande is, I think. And it's also it's gonna give a direction for the album, because, like I said, I'm doing the album, so I'm gonna do it next year for sure.
We still don't talk about the album, so
yeah, it's gonna next year. It should be here. Yeah, so now I have like 2 or 3 songs almost done. Yeah, it takes in progress.
So this track will be it'll be used to promote your US tour. Is that right?
Wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last single. So every time when you do a US tour, we use the new song.
And when do you go to the States? When do you go to US next?
I think it's at the end of the month, right? Yeah, at the end of the month.
Oh, so you've really got no time at all to go back home, really. So you were in Ibiza, then you come to Asia, and then you go home for a week, and then
and home, and I'm gonna have to work on the new song, because I want one to be ready for at least January. So.
And how many gigs are you doing out in the States? Do you know? Are you there for quite a while?
Well,
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're pretty much exploring east to west. You're going all over. Yeah. That's pretty nice. Okay, then lastly, just before we get you out of here, so you can relax a bit before your set. All your social media. Obviously, you have 1 million followers. Oh, by the way, I want to ask you something, and you have to be honest.
Yeah.
You've got 1 million followers on Facebook. That's the only platform that we need to mention. If I messaged you right now, would you get it? How many, you must be getting thousands of messages a day.
I don't really look at Facebook anymore.
No.
Sometimes, but
That's honest. A lot of the DJs say the same thing. To be honest, with Facebook, it's kind of autonomous, and Instagram redirects anyway. So people just use that.
Yeah, that's it. And but Instagram, for example, I use it a lot.
So Instagram is you, and then everything goes
as much as I can. I mean, Facebook is still me, but not everything. Like you can't manage everything.
It's just impossible.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Do you? And how many in your have you got in a team working for you now? Because somebody at your level must have, they must have more than just one.
No, there is just my manager. He's working. He has his team with 3 or 4 guys. But
this is the same guy as from before. What?
Yeah.
And give him a shout out so that people can say hello to him.
Romain Croazo at Unity. He's good. He's really, I don't know how to say it, but dedicated to it. Yeah. So.
He's got your best interests and has done from the start.
Yeah, we grew together basically. So like I said,
good story.
He didn't know anything about this world, and me neither, and we just learn from experience.
Okay, last thing from me. If you weren't a DJ and producer, any ideas what you'd be doing? What you'd like to do? Can you imagine if your career was something else?
Oh,
tennis player.
I mean, I was web marketing in the web marketing before, so maybe I would still be in it. I don't know.
You'd be wearing a tie to work every day and in an office.
When to buy my studio equipment back in the day, I worked like I was selling some perfume, and so yeah, it was also very good to to work because now I really know how to deal with people in my team, and I don't know. It was for me a really good experience that I got to work to pay my stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool, man. Okay, lastly, if you just want to give out your social media handles, just so that, well, I think you've already mentioned that Instagram's your favourite one that you use. If you just give everyone your Instagram handle, then I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of DMs asking you for all kinds of strange pictures after this. But go ahead, the floor is yours.
So from my social, my Instagram is Klingande Music. I think on Facebook it should be the same, and everything is the same. It's Klingande Music. Yeah.
There you go. Well, listen, thanks very much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. And you'll be at the W later on tonight. Any ideas on the set time?
I think it's 11, something like that.
Around about 11. Always subject to change. We are in Bali, so it is what it is. But thanks for doing this, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And listeners and viewers, we'll see you on the next episode. See ya. Okay, folks, that was Act Like a DJ with Klingande. He's gone straight to the W Hotel for the festival tonight. Big shout out to the guys over at W for hosting the event, and also Damien over there. I believe the show is a massive success, so congrats to you, my friend. Also, big shout out to the 4 Points Sheraton Hotel in Seminyak, where I was able to do the podcast. They set me up in one of their meeting rooms, and Coco was absolutely fantastic with me. Big shout out to you, mate. I'll come back and see you next week. Anyone who's coming to Bali, I definitely recommend the 4 Points Sheraton as an option of somewhere for you to stay. Anyway, that wasn't a sponsor. That was just a shout out for those guys being fantastic towards me and accommodating my every need to get this podcast over the line so that you guys can listen to it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the show. Subscribe on all the channels, comment, let me know where you listen to it and which platforms you like listening to it the best or the most even, and see you on the next one. Ciao.